You probably thought Clint Eastwood was the epitome of calm, wise, and untouchable. But you were wrong. At 95, this Hollywood legend has finally taken off the mask, revealing a darker side few could have ever imagined. For the first time, Clint is naming the 6 stars who betrayed him when he needed them most, those who stood beside him in the limelight only to stab him in the back. And once you hear these names, you'll understand why Clint Eastwood never forgave and never forgot. Number 1. Leonardo DiCaprio, the golden boy who crossed the line. What made Clint Eastwood walk off the set of his own film? Leonardo DiCaprio. When J. Edgar was announced in 2010, it seemed like a dream pairing. Hollywood's most stoic director and its most intense actor. But things quickly soured. DiCaprio arrived with stacks of research and FBI memos, treating the role like a documentary. Clint's patience wore thin. "He came in like a detective trying to solve me," Clint joked. I wasn't the case. The real issue? Leo's obsessive pursuit of perfection. In one emotional scene, Leo nailed it in a single take, raw and flawless. Clint muttered, "Perfect. Cut." But Leo insisted on more takes. By the 6th, Clint had enough. He stood by the craft table, stone-faced, and muttered, "He's still searching for something. I already found it." Afterward, Clint would shake his head whenever Leo's name came up. "Great actor," Clint would say, "but not my kind." They never worked together again. Even after Leo won his Oscar, Clint never called. To Clint, perfection is about doing it once, and doing it right. Number 2. Michael Moore, the man who crossed the line. When Michael Moore compared American Sniper to Nazi propaganda, he might as well have signed his own Hollywood death warrant. Clint Eastwood didn't yell. He didn't even get angry. He did something far worse. He froze Michael Moore out of his world. Forever. The tension had been brewing since 2005 when Clint made a bold declaration at the National Board of Review Awards. "If Michael Moore ever shows up at my door with a camera, I'll kill him." The room laughed awkwardly. Clint didn't. His gaze was cold and unflinching as he walked off stage. That wasn't a joke. It was a declaration of war. To understand Clint's anger, you need to know what he stands for. Discipline, quiet service, and old-school honor. Moore's documentaries, especially Fahrenheit 9/11, were to Clint little more than political grandstanding, disguised as art. "I see soldiers as heroes, not pawns," Clint once said. Michael Moore doesn't get that. And when Moore mocked American Sniper by comparing it to a Nazi sniper movie, Clint's people said he was livid. "He doesn't forget insults," said one longtime collaborator. "He deletes them." And that's exactly what Clint did to Michael Moore. Today, if you even mention Moore in Clint's presence, the conversation ends. Period. Number 3. Barbra Streisand, the perfectionist who pushed Clint too far. If there's one name that still tightens Clint Eastwood's jaw, even after 9 decades in Hollywood, it's Barbra Streisand. Their feud, one of Hollywood's most infamous, began in the early 80s when both were shifting from acting to directing. Streisand, a perfectionist, demanded up to 60 takes for a scene while Clint believed in efficiency. 2 takes max, then move on. Their creative clashes created a cold, decades-long silence between them. To Clint, Streisand represented everything wrong with Hollywood. Vanity, control, and endless overthinking. When The Prince of Tides didn't earn Streisand a Best Director nomination in 1992, Clint reportedly said, "Maybe if she made decisions faster, she'd finish more than 3 films in 15 years. Then came The Bridges of Madison County. Streisand dropped out after years of indecision. Clint stepped in, rewrote the script, and created a quiet masterpiece, earning Meryl Streep an Oscar nomination and Clint his revenge, all without saying a word. Since then, Clint has avoided Streisand completely. To him, she symbolizes hesitation and the death of instinct in filmmaking. In his world, you pull the trigger once, not 50 times. Number 4, Tommy Lee Jones, the alpha Clint couldn't tame. On the first day of In the Line of Fire in 1993, Clint Eastwood supposedly whispered to a crew member, "2 bulls in 1 pen. This won't last." At first, everyone thought Clint and Tommy Lee Jones would be perfect together, but behind the scenes, it turned into a battle. Jones refused to take quiet direction. He argued, rewrote lines, and kept performing long after Clint called cut. Clint, ever calm, watched in disbelief. He'd stay in character between takes, a technician recalled. Clint would just stare and think, "What are you doing?" Tensions peaked during a confrontation scene when Jones, fully in character, towered over Clint and kept delivering his lines after cut was called. Clint, unfazed, whispered to his assistant, "Life's too short for that kind of theater," then walked off set. From that moment on, Clint was clear. "He's a great actor," he'd say, "but we don't speak the same language." They've never worked together again. In Clint's world, there's only room for one alpha, and he's the one calling cut. Number 5. Richard Burton, the drunk who tested Clint's patience. Clint Eastwood rarely lost his temper, but Richard Burton pushed him to the edge on the 1968 set of Where Eagles Dare. The problem wasn't ego, it was work ethic. Burton showed up late, slurred his lines, and often smelled of the night before. Clint, ready at dawn, watched silently as his patience drained with every stumble. Burton's stormy marriage and nightly bar habits took a toll on the crew. Clint didn't yell, he waited, cold and increasingly disgusted. After Burton flubbed the same line 10 times, Clint muttered, "I'm getting paid by the picture, not by the hour." The crew laughed. Burton didn't. The final straw came when Burton called the movie a paycheck job. To Eastwood, that was unforgivable. Every film deserved full commitment. Years later, he summed it up simply: talented guy, wasted talent. The film was a hit, but their relationship ended on set, sealed by silence, the sharpest weapon Clint wielded. Number 6. Jean Seberg, the woman who broke Clint's patience. Clint Eastwood doesn't talk about Paint Your Wagon anymore, and if you ask why, the answer is Jean Seberg. She wasn't just his co-star, she was the reason he swore never to mix sympathy with work again. Seberg, fragile and unpredictable, was under FBI surveillance for her activism. Her mood swings were intense, one moment charming the crew, the next, locking herself in her trailer. Clint, focused and punctual, reached his limit by week 3. She often stopped mid-scene to ask about her motivation, leaving Clint silently frustrated. The real fallout came when Paint Your Wagon bombed, and Seberg publicly blamed Clint's wooden performance. To him, that was a betrayal, criticizing a colleague after holding the production together. From then on, she was done. Clint never spoke her name again. When Seberg tragically died in 1979, Clint stayed silent. "Some people aren't cut out for the work," he said. "I don't need to deal with it twice." That was as close as Clint ever came to forgiveness. So what do you think? Was Clint Eastwood justified in cutting these people out of his life, or did his silence go too far? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories that were never meant to see the light of day.